Chelsea beat Milan 2-0 at San Siro. Jules, I know Milan are annoyed by the Tomori penalty and sending off. Can we talk about the football first?
Yeah.
Because I thought Chelsea destroyed them over 2 games. They had absences, but this was emphatic. So some love for Graham Potter, please?
Yeah, some love for Chelsea and Potter, for Mason Mount as well, who I thought was outstanding.
In both games.
In both games. It helps you, of course, when in that game itself, when you play with 11 against 10 for more than an hour, but still overall. And you don't always have to play well to be dominant. You can just make the most of your opposition's mistake, the mistake that you force the opposition to make by the way you play. And that's certainly what Chelsea have done. So well done to them. And I think the Potter process is taking shape and good shape. And okay, Gab, it's a lot about that penalty and the red card for tomorrow. So where do you stand on it?
I think the penalty was soft, but I don't think it's scandalous to give it. I think there's some misconception about the red card because I've heard people say, well, if you're going to give the penalty, you have to send him off because he doesn't play the ball. Because that's what it says in the laws of the game. Referees do not simply referee based on what it says in the laws of the game. There is room for discretion for them. Mm-hmm. And that discretion is guided by the directives they're given by their head of referees, in this case UEFA, but also FIFA with IFAB. So that rule about the penalty and the red card if you don't play the ball is specifically designed for situations where, a defender rugby tackles the other guy or whatever. That's not what happened here. And referees were told that they should apply a high bar to this kind of situation to send somebody off. I saw no need to send him off. I thought a yellow would have been more than sufficient. Funnily enough, it occurred to me if the goalkeeper, Tatarusano, had known that Tomori was going to be sent off, why not just let Mount score?
Yeah, maybe,
right?
yeah.
And then you go 11v11.
Maybe.
Paris Saint-Germain and Benfica draw 1-1, Jules. I think it got lost in all the Mbappe hype, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be a little bit concerned about first place in the group? Because it's going to come down to goal difference. Well, goal difference is equal right now. It could come down to goals scored.
Yeah, or maybe to the Juventus clash with Benfica and with PSG then. I don't know.
I'm assuming Juventus could lose all their games.
Yeah, true. Could lose everything. I'm more concerned about how poor or very average this PSG team was without Messi, without Nuno Mendes, who brings verticality to that team, which Bernat doesn't really bring. I'm a bit worried that they're not playing well. That they look tired, and they might have been tired because Galtier didn't really rotate much so far this season. There's obviously the Classic against Marseille on Sunday. There's very important games coming after that. It's just the vibe is not good right now. Last-ditch equalizer from Antonio Rudiger helps Real Madrid avoid defeat away to Shakhtar Donetsk as they draw 1-1 and qualify. Gab, this would have been another chapter in the Ukrainian fairy tale, though.
It would have been, obviously, Madridistas, chill for a minute.
Yeah.
We saw Hazard. He rotated plays. He knows he's got the Classico coming up, blah, blah, blah. He just got the job done. First of all, just 2 things on this. One, I thought Shakhtar, again, your boy Mudryk and Trubin, phenomenal.
Really, really
and Antonio Rudiger. I mean, talk about heart of a lion. Just such leadership. He's got to be a cult hero.
20
already.
stitches.
It's
Could have lost his eye.
That collision was so hard. Oof. Oh my goodness. I'm back, which means more quick hits.
Yes.
Tottenham Hotspur beat Eintracht Frankfurt 3-2 to go back to top of Group D. Jules, given how the PSG talk must have depressed you, and you're always cheery, I suspect you're going to rather tell me about Heung-min Son's techers than mistakes by Dyer and Kane.
Yeah, I mean, that volley that he scored with his left foot on the Højbjerg cross was just incredible. The strength and the power, the balance that he has when he hits it, amazing. Clearly back to his best. Him and Kane, that relationship really put Frankfurt to the... So although Frankfurt played well, they took the lead, as you said. Dyer mistake, big mistake. Kane missed a penalty to make 4-2 late. And it was a bit of a, shaky end of the game. But in the end, it's a win. And it was, again, a very emotional night with a tribute to Ventrone. Liverpool beat Rangers 7-1 at Ibrox as Mohamed Salah comes off the bench to score the fastest hat-trick in Champions League history in just 6 minutes and 12 seconds. Gab, Klopp must be happy.
I think Klopp is happy.
Not for the first time.
I was on the show, though. Stevie Nicol was not happy, too. He said until minute 54, he says there was nothing separating the 2 teams. Yeah. Rangers were very intense. Eventually, Rangers fell away. What I will say in Liverpool's defense is, was it Liverpool? Is it still Liverpool who, when you've got Luis Diaz out, Alexander Arnold out, Thiago Alcantara on the bench, Mohamed Salah on the bench. I mean, I counted Robertson on the bench.
Yeah, Matip out.
I counted 6 guys out, so let's be a little more generous. They're a better team when Salah's there. There's still issues.
Yeah.
There's still issues of confidence and whatever. Still not feeling Darwin Nunez. But, I mean, come on. It's 7-1. Salah looks up for it.
Yeah. Let's talk about perfection now, Gab, because Napoli beat up Ajax 4-2 and stayed perfect in the Champions League so far. 4 wins in 4 games. Plus, Victor Osimhen is back.
And you know what that means?
That means
the best is yet to come. That first half they were phenomenal. Raspadori's goal.
Oh, wow.
Kvaratskhelia ripping it up again.
Yeah.
They played with just Chucky Lozano for the first.
I mean, great header.
They play with so much pace. It feels like they have so many guys who can hurt you because, we don't even mention Osimhen's back, but you've got Gio Simeone as well. They're absolutely flying. Now, can this continue? Will it continue? Who cares? Enjoy it for now because it's incredible. And I think they taught a lot of people a lot of lessons, as I've said before, about transition and how you cope with younger players. In the interest of equity, let's remember that Bayern are also perfect, Jules. They beat Victoria Pilsen 4-2 and have qualified.
They've qualified, yeah. I mean,
and they didn't play in the second half either.
They didn't play. They stopped playing at halftime. They let Victoria Pilsen score 2 goals in the second half. And I think Thomas Müller came off not through a bad injury or serious injury. And there was no Musiala, for example. So Sadio Mane scored again. They got the job done very easy. I think they were 3-0 up within 20 minutes. Juventus lose away to Maccabi Haifa 2-0 on Tuesday and are nearly eliminated. Gab, Max Allegri and Andrea Agnelli had plenty to say after the game.
So I'll get to what they said. But first of all, I have an issue with Angel Di Maria. I have a major issue with Angel Di Maria. 10 minutes into the game, 20 minutes, whatever it was, he touches his leg and he comes off. I get it. There's World Cup coming up. And I get it, you want to preserve yourself, and I'm not a doctor. This is a really, really bad look. My thoughts about Juve signing him. That out of the way, the question is, how do you react to this horrendous situation? I'm not sure they gave the right messaging. I think they went back to the usual cliches. Allegri comes out and says, well, no, it's not about skill. It's not about tactics. It's just about heart and desire. And I'm like, come on, man. You really believe this in 2022? Really? Yeah. And, of course, they said, oh, no, and now we're all going to go back to the training ground and we're going to stay locked in the training ground until the derby against Turin this weekend. Again, what are these methods from the 1950s? Andrea Agnelli, he said, we're all ashamed. Okay, that's nice. It's the right thing to say. But then he says, no. You win with everybody, you lose with everybody. We're all equally responsible. 80, 90 people, not just the players, the backup staff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I think that's the wrong message. Completely. I think that's the wrong message because you know what? They're not all equally responsible. You come and tell me that Fabio Miretti or Locatelli are as responsible for this situation, or even your friend Rabiot, who's actually played really well, as some of the others who've been really poor, or as responsible as Allegri, who actually picks the team. Yeah. You think Carlo Pinsoglio, the third goalkeeper and local, stroke bouncer at the club, is he as responsible as Szczesny? I don't. This is I hope internally they're not going around saying you're all equally responsible. Because otherwise the players are going to say, is Paul Pogba responsible when he hasn't played a minute? Come on, I get what you're saying, but let's have a little bit more grown-up messaging here. Yeah. Marseille lost their first 2 group games. Everybody was talking about what a genius Ruben Amorim is. Maybe he still is, but the tables are definitely turned after Marseille's 2-0 away win at Gavalade.
Very good win. I mean, they again benefited from an early red card. Gaio after 18 minutes or something.
It's easier when you play more than an hour.
But well done to them still, and very much now back in the conversation to qualify. Erling Haaland is rested for Manchester City, and they are held to a 0-0 draw away at Copenhagen. Gab, does this mean that they are Haaland dependent?
Yeah.
No Erling, no party.
Yeah, no Erling, no party. No, it doesn't. Look, they missed the penalty. They had the other goal chalked off for a handball, which I thought was highly dubious. Yeah. And they went down to 10 men. So I'm not overly concerned there. Copenhagen had 6 teenagers in their starting 11. Again, I don't think they particularly cared. I think they were thinking ahead, obviously, to Liverpool. But like I said, and I'll repeat this even though I said it earlier, that image of Pep Guardiola plugging Erling Haaland into a massive charger in the back, and his head starting to glow as he turns from yellow to red in the back. That is a very, very, very scary proposition. And release clauses, put those to one side for now. Borussia Dortmund are held at home by Sevilla and Jorge Sampaoli making his Champions League debut. Jules, Bellingham and co will still be okay, right?
Yeah, they're 5 points clear of Sevilla. They've got 7 points. Sevilla, 2 points with 2 games to go. One of them being at home to City, who already qualified, who will go to Dortmund in 2 weeks' time, and probably Pep will, rotate, and 1 point will be enough then for Dortmund to qualify. So I'm not worried at all. I wasn't a believer, I have to be honest here. I didn't see this one coming, but you were, Gab. And after their draw with Atletico Madrid, Brugge have qualified for the knockout round after just 4 games for the first time in the history in the Champions League. Incredible achievement.
Yeah, I think you can count on one hand the number of clubs who've qualified after
Ghent
just
are
4
the only
games.
one, and that's it. Oh, sorry, yeah. So I don't even mean Belgium.
And not just that, they also haven't conceded a goal. Incredible. Simon Mignolet saving everything in sight.
9
and of course, that great leadership from Mr. Champions League. I know you love that original nickname.
He scored again. Oh, no, he didn't score again. He scored so many goals.
Hans van Aken. But Belgians are so original with their nicknames. But so what I didn't get about this Athletic game, obviously, Simeone said it was one of the best games we played this season. Yeah, they
created a lot. They had a lot of chances.
You have a ton of chances. You know what the other team's going to do. They're all the way back. You had the poor guy, Buchanan, earlier, getting sent off. I mean,
yellow card. Yeah.
What do you, you're trying to punch the ball into the back of the net.
I know, man.
You need a better solution than that. Oh, and by the way, we talked about this on the show, you sent on Witsel instead of Joe Felix. I'm like, at that point, I would rather send on Axel Witsel, who is tall and has a big head, not as big as it was when he had the bigger hair, but still. And maybe I get something and mix it up in the box on a set piece. Then Joe Felix was just going to sulk and walk around in circles.
But Joe Felix should have come on earlier anyway.
I don't know. I think he's got such a negative vibe around him. Dinamo Zagreb and Salzburg battle to a 1-1 draw. Jules, this group is still wide open.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly for
second place.
Yeah, for second place, Salzburg certainly.
Although, Chelsea only have 7 points, by the way.
Yeah, they do, but
just flagging, Chelsea not out of the woods either.
No, that's true, but they look in control of that group, and then for the second place, Milan and it looks like Milan and Salzburg, and that game coming up would be huge between the two, and see who's the winner. If there's a winner, if there's no winner, if Zagreb can pull another upset against Chelsea, which I'm not sure will happen or can happen, then we could go all down to the wire in that group, which is what we want really. Not a good debut for Xabi Alonso in the Champions League, Gab, as Bayer Leverkusen lose at home to Porto 3-0. And Kemi Demirbay misses a penalty. By the way, Diogo Costa, the Porto goalkeeper, first ever goalkeeper to save a pen and give an assist in the same game.
There you go. Well done, Diogo Costa. Now, it's funny because Bayer Leverkusen played exactly the way I expected them to play under Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
Very attacking, very open, creating chances. Porto played exactly the way I expected, but given their situation, which was obviously all wound up, the fans angry, can't screw this up. And so they score a goal, as you said, with the Diogo Costa, long ball, and to Galeano. Then they miss the penalty. Wow. Then they concede. Then Leverkusen concede 2 penalties in the second half. It's almost like a stereotype to talk about, oh, look, bad defending, Leverkusen, unnecessary penalties. I think it's a learning curve for Xabi Alonso. He got the big win at the weekend. Now this. But, I mean, this is a bad defeat.
Yeah.
Leipzig leave it late, but win 2-0 away to Celtic. Jules, they're already classic football villains. And now they can ruin the Shakhtar fairy tale. I see this as a total light versus darkness clash.
It is completely, and obviously Leipzig being humiliated, remember, in game week 1 by Shakhtar. That led in a way to the Tedesco sacking. So we will see how Marco Rose does now. They were not great against Celtic in the sense that Celtic, I thought, played really well, had some chances when they hit the post and the bar in the same move.
I'm not a Celtic fan, but I am an Ange fan.
You're an Ange fan.
And I thought
they deserved better.
They certainly deserve more out of this game.
They deserve more from this game. In the end, Timo Werner somehow with a goal and an assist. So we will see. But I felt a bit for Celtic. I was sad for them because I think they had played well, even against Real Madrid, against Shakhtar, and to not have more points in that group is a bit heartbreaking for them.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.